All right, so thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm Dr. Renee Dorn. I'm Director of Alumni Relations for GSEP. And this is the Student Alumni Roundtable for MS in Education, the Leadership Suite of Programs. Joining me is my assistant, who's also the Alumni Relations Analyst, and that's Sophia Henriquez. And she helps me with everything. So usually whenever you see me, Sophia is not far behind. And so to get started, let me just sort of tell you what this Student Alumni Roundtable is. Basically, it gives students who are in these current programs, and for this roundtable, we have a few programs that we are highlighting. And they are the MS in Leadership in Higher Education, MS in Learning Design and Innovation, MS in Leadership in Pre-K to 12 Education, and MS in Organizational Leadership and Learning. So these are the 4 programs that we are highlighting for today. And so excited to have the director of the program, Dr. Jennifer Miyake-Trapp. So she's going to discuss a little bit about each one of the programs. So those of you who aren't in maybe 3 of the programs, you'll find out about the other programs that are going to be highlighted. In addition, we also have alumni that are graduates of some of these programs that are going to be speaking to you today so that you'll get an insight as to what you can expect while you're in these programs, and maybe they'll be able to give you some tips on how they were able to get out of the programs and graduate. So to get started, let me just say the Student Alumni Roundtable is your chance for all the students who are in these programs. This is your chance to be able to learn something about the programs that maybe you didn't know, to learn something about some alums who have graduated from the programs, to get tips from them on how to get through the programs and graduate. And then you get a chance to ask questions. Any questions that you may have regarding these programs, you can ask Dr. Miyake-Trapp, you can ask the alums, just to help you to get a better understanding of the programs that you're in and then how to successfully get through them to graduate. Okay, so let's get started with Dr. Miyake-Trapp, just to give us an idea of, tell us a little bit about these programs, since there are 4 of them.
Okay, I will keep it super brief because most of these folks just went through orientation last weekend. So is that everyone here? Bethany, Tammy, Joseph, Sarah, Marilyn, Leticia, Zach, all of you are new, right? Do I have you right in my head? Okay, good. Try to keep track of all the students. So we have a big incoming group of new MS students, and they are being very wise in taking advantage of all of these opportunities to connect and expand their GSEP network. So I'm really proud of all of you for being here and making time in your busy day. You are super duper blessed. We have our alumni all-stars who are joining us. They are rocking their professional careers. They are continuing their education. They are having babies. They are just all over the place superstars from diverse backgrounds with diverse careers and diverse interests. So please ask away because you are really, really blessed. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, Dr. Dorn, for creating this space, and Sophia. This is super fun to connect our current students with our alums. You know, we have our programs, so I won't talk in depth about each of them because by now you're probably aware or should be aware of all of them. Looks like we have a few more joining us. That's fantastic. What I will say to both groups of students, our current students and our alums, is that the programs have always continued to evolve. So Josh, Kayla, Amma, and Kanza, they were part of our original crew, right? You guys were our first graduating class. So they were not only amazing in their own right, but also very flexible with us as we worked through what it means to have a new program. So to you guys, I say thank you. And I also say because of your work and your reflection, we have improved the program and continued to revise it for our current students who you are seeing on the screen right now. So to give you all context, our alums, these students who are entering the program are entering into a hybrid format. So they get to come to campus 1 weekend per term for face-to-face classes if they're able to do so. So that's something different. To our current students, these alums entered the program when it was fully online only. So they didn't have the weekend of instruction and that extra time with their faculty that you guys benefit from. Okay, so I just want to point out those kind of program differences and how the programs have evolved over time. So you may hear something that they share that sounds a little different and vice versa. So really we kind of want to not necessarily look at the nitty gritty of the programs, but really overall in those relationships with faculty, the content that you learn. The courses are largely the same, though always improving every single semester as we continue to collect data and reflect on our practice. So you may hear slight differences, and I don't want that to alarm or stress anyone out, especially our current students, okay? Because theirs was fully online. In addition, hold on one sec. That's fine, thank you. I have 2 little girls at home who I'm also monitoring right now as they learn, so I apologize as I'm multitasking, as I know many of you are balancing multiple roles and responsibilities as well. So thank you for being here. We're really grateful. I'm just proud of our current students for taking advantage of this opportunity and elated and deeply grateful and humbled that our alumni are here with us to share their love and experiences. Everybody's in good hands. I don't have anything else to say right now other than you all can keep it real, all right? You're not going to offend me if you have a question or if somebody has a complaint. This is your time and your space. I am obviously here and listening in, but I don't want to be your filter or your barrier from really being able to be honest and genuine. You know, I would only be reporting back to myself. So it's not going anywhere. So please use this space and feel comfortable to be honest and open and know that I really support that type of space. Okay. All right. Pass it back to you, Dr. Dorn.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So let's go to our alums so that we can get some insight into what was really going on in these programs. And let's start with Amma. So Amma, tell us what program you graduated from, and tell us a little bit about maybe some challenges that you faced while you were in the program and how you overcame them so that you could successfully finish and graduate.
Got it. So I'm a graduate of the MS Organizational Leadership and Learning. I would say that being 100% online, which I just heard you've altered, was quite challenging. The amount of readings, the amount of videos, and then the weekly forums was quite challenging because I think the approach is andragogy, so it's like learner centered. So we took on a lot of the responsibility of learning the concepts ourselves and then presenting that. It was both challenging and amazing. So the bigger the challenge, the greater the learning, of course. And then, of course, the transmedia presentation. So not only did we have to submit papers, but we had to dive in deep in digital literacy and get our digital literacy, at par. But again, it was a lot of learning new things and being open to this format of online learning. And also, I guess the third one is on the personal level and just making that connectivity with your fellow cohort and the strengthening of the community. Like we really had to go out of our way to to create that community and to be supportive of one another. But otherwise, it was great. I mean, we had to learn, and we did, and we all successfully completed it.
Well, that's great. That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Ama. So I'm going to go to the next alum, Kanza. So why don't you tell us about the program you graduated from and some of the challenges you faced while you were in the program and how you successfully were able to graduate?
Of course. So I was in leadership and higher education, and I really do think that end of the day, it's all about time management and keeping yourself organized. So I was working full time. I was pregnant, and taking care of family responsibilities and having a little bit of social life because you need that to just survive and just keep your mind fresh, and also keeping up with the work. And I think end of the day, it really was the time management that got me through it. I would highly recommend to keep a planner. It's so easy to lose track of assignments and discussion posts and just responses. I think those are the small little things that slip your mind, and then the points add up on that, or lost points. But one of the challenges was anytime there was a project coming up and at the same time something was happening at work, that sometimes got a little overwhelming. But your faculty, you'll notice they're very helpful, and if at any time I felt like I might not meet the deadline, I always reach out to the faculty member, and that never really happened. But it was really good to keep the faculty in mind, and they're really there for you to help you succeed. And most of I've noticed when I was coming closer to my due date and I had a bunch of discussion posts and projects coming up, one the faculty were very helpful, in the sense that they were willing to extend the timeline for me. I'm just glad it never got to that point, but it's just having that open communication with your faculty will go a long way. Keeping a planner, keeping yourself organized will not only help you reduce the stress, but it'll also keep you organized, and then you can see that, okay, well, I have this little chunk of time open, and that's up to you. Like, do you want it for yourself? Do you want to work ahead? And that's another thing. If you do have breaks in between, I also recommend working ahead, whether it's just writing down a discussion post. Just put your ideas on the computer, and then when you have time, go back and edit. That also helps you with the stress level that, okay, at least I have something, and all I have to do is edit, and all I have to do is add on to it. Same thing with the projects too. And finally, just in terms of, like Amma said, having a community, obviously you're not going to be able to see each other in person as much. And coming into the program, that was one of my hesitations, because as an undergrad, I hated online classes. I always wanted to do in person. I'm a social being, so I want to be there face to face with the faculty, with my peers. So I was a little hesitant to do online, but of course, with the demands of adulting, I couldn't, do a face to face or program. So online in that sense helped me. But we actually had our group chat separately, and it was a lot of fun. As Kayla, Emma, and Joshua will attest to that. While we had our um, meetings with our faculty, we'd be talking with each other, and whenever we had a big project, no, we never said anything negative, but but it was just fun, right? It was just like little silly stuff. And then whenever we had any big projects, just encouraging each other. And I remember for our thesis presentations, it was just fun because we were just like, good job, that was so good, and just like pumping each other up. And so I highly recommend, creating that social aspect. And yeah, it's not the same as face-to-face conversations, but it makes a difference. It's so much fun. And even though I never saw any of my peers that often, I really do feel a form of connection with them, and I really do miss those conversations. So yeah, I mean, and we're here for you. Your faculty is here for you. Take advantage of that. Don't feel like you're alone in this. So whenever you have any questions, reach out. Don't fall into the mind trap that, oh, they don't care, or like, what will they think? No, we all care. We definitely want you to succeed. So reach out with whatever questions you have, no matter how silly you think it is. Most likely it's not silly at all. And we're here for you, and any questions you have, we'd be happy to help.
All right, that's great. Thank you, Kanza. Thank you. All right, Joshua, you're up next. So,
All right. So, hello,
yes,
everybody.
yes.
Oh, okay.
Give us your
Um,
viewpoint of the program you graduated,
yeah,
how you got through it.
exactly. So, I graduated from the Leadership and Learning Technologies program. I believe that has morphed or merged with the Learning Design and Innovation program. So with that program and just with online learning in general, it's something that provides you with a lot of flexibility. But at the same time, the trade-off is that you really have to be disciplined in your approach, disciplined in um, your task and the things that you have to do. So with that, uh, what helped me, similar to Cons, is just really keeping a planner and keeping, or if not a date by date by date by date planner, just keeping an awareness of when things are due, and making sure you're on top of that. One thing that helped me a lot was doing everything in the Google Suites that we have. That assisted greatly, from doing your notes to doing your discussion posts to doing your forums. It may seem somewhat tedious while you're doing it, but when it comes to like final projects and final papers, the great thing about that is that you can search within your Google Drive, and it provides you with like the notes that you made, and it provides you with like the discussion posts that you made. Another time saver for me was citing the particular sources before going to the discussion posts or going to the papers. So as you're watching the videos, as you're reading the documents, citing those. And then when you do that, it's really easy when you're doing the discussion post to, okay, here, let me grab this reference. Let me put this in text citation there and here, because that saves a lot of time and it reduces a lot of stress. Because if you're right at the deadline or right at the due date of something, then doing those in-text citations and references under stress is not advice that I would recommend. So saving time for that, because it really gives you that flexibility to kind of do things when you need to get them done and have them done when they need to get done. So with that flexibility and that discipline, kind of just knowing yourself, also lean into the communities that are provided, such as the group me that my cohort used, or whatever community opportunities that are within your particular cohort. Lean into that because it really provides you with a space to kind of release stress, a space to have fun, a space to kind of stay up to date when things are due, something slipped your mind. But with all of that, just having a self awareness, because I know for me, I wouldn't necessarily go to the group meet all the time because like the anxiety that may be present around a particular assignment, it's like I just don't need that in my life. I don't need that stress of everyone. Um, Not necessarily complaining, but voicing their frustrations. Some
Josh,
days,
I laid it out for them at orientation. I was like, those little group messages, those are fantastic, but don't make crazy.
yeah,
Like, everybody
exactly,
handle your business, support each
exactly,
other, but like piling on complaints about an assignment or a faculty member, not productive.
yeah. So it's like you may want to do that, and you may want to complain about like. I know we had a professor one semester who just gave us quizzes, and we weren't vibing with the quizzes, and it was just like you know what, this is just like too much, or they're purposeless. So we voiced those complaints in the group me, or when it comes to an assignment, we would kind of like voice our concerns. They would be valid, but if you're not in a mental space to kind of go through those frustrations or go through everyone's um, comments on something, then just be self-aware. So overall, I would just recommend being okay with being flexible, being okay with being disciplined, but also being self-aware enough to know what you need when you need it, and where you might need it. So yeah, that's my advice on how I made it through,
And
how I made
Josh,
it over.
like, you know, all those things y'all complained about, they're all gone. We're perfect now.
See, it's
So
great.
like they don't even need to worry about those things.
That's what life about is
Thank you for
perfecting our
being our guinea
imperfections.
pigs.
I
That's what
will say one thing with what Joshua said, but there were parts in the program that weren't vibing with us, and we, I think, made enough noise that, you know, you guys looked into it and changed it a little. So there's that your concerns aren't being heard, and there were a lot of times that we were like, whoosh, okay, I'm glad that I spoke out, or I'm glad I wasn't the only one feeling like that.
Now that's good to know. That's good to know. Let me ask the alums right now before I get to Kayla. You were in a cohort setting, is that correct? For everybody, you were in a cohort setting. So did you have a lot of projects that you had to do with other people, like presentations or papers or anything like that?
I would
Just
say,
one.
Just
yeah,
one?
yeah, for once, and then also a challenge that I faced was that when we got into our program specific courses, there were only two of us, so we were doing projects that would be designated for maybe 4 to 5 individuals, and we kind of just had the responsibility of doing that particular paper or doing that project together. But there were opportunities to do group projects, or there were times when we needed to do group projects.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, it's just kind of finding what works for that particular team, on whether it's hopping on a Zoom call, whether it's texting each other back and forth, whether it's doing the project in Google Docs, which I would recommend just doing everything on Google. Not because I work for Google or anything, but it's just really effective. So in those times when we did have group projects, I would say that communication is key and just really finding what works for everyone.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Good to know.
I also wanted to say, like, although most of I think we had 2 group projects, right? The debate with Professor Meister and, that project with Dr. Kane. But because of the format, when you go through this class, you kind of learn about each other's strength, and we're in it together. So I think we had that opportunity to, during our orientation, to kind of like blend and merge as a group. So we were helping each other a lot, especially when you do those transmedia projects, or when you're doing like sound bites, or when you're converting your PDF to YouTube, or how you're editing your videos, right? So we kind of just help each other, although it wasn't those weren't group projects. They ended up many times becoming like a group project, in the way that we're just supporting one another. So yeah, you do know the strengths of your cohort. That's very important. And people are usually very generous with their time. And if you have like a group chat among you guys, that is the best way to do it. And that way you can kind of like have a little bit more foresight and a little bit more opportunity to help others who are in need. And if you discover something, like Josh usually and Elias is usually the way there, they would discover something like maybe a glitch or a hack, and that's something that they would share with us right away.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Hansa, you have to tell us about our visitor.
He's been getting a lot of separation anxiety, and I was already keeping him away from myself, and I had my other meetings, so I felt like it was just not fair to do it again. So here's our other honorary alum of GSEP, who woke up from his nap early.
Hi.
There he is.
Hi, baby.
So I'm trying to get him a degree too, but we'll see how that goes.
He's going to get a degree. Guarantee that.
An honorary one. I think he deserves it. He was there from spring semester to the end of it, so he definitely learned a lot as well.
Too sweet. That is too sweet. Well, welcome to our session.
Thank you.
Kayla, hello.
Hi.
Kayla is another alum, and so
Mhm.
to get Kayla's point of view as well as to for her to tell us the program that she graduated from and to find out what some of her challenges were and how she overcame them and was able to successfully graduate.
Okay, so you want to go ahead and share that screen?
Let's see. You have something for me to share, Kayla?
Yeah, the presentation.
Oh, okay, let me see.
I sent it to your email.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Here we go.
So excited to see everyone. I just want to let you know that I'm doing way better. I'm mentally, physically. I lost about 18 pounds, 17 to 18 pounds. I'm working out every day. I'm eating vegan right now. Things are going really great. And I give all things to Christ and God, and Jesus is Lord. And I'm so thankful to be a part of this school, which is a faith-based school, and I'm so thankful for all the support you guys have gave me. I don't want to cry because I'm not going to get emotional. Okay, so I'm just so thankful for Dr. Mayaki Trap. I'm so blessed. So I can't wait to show you all that we have in store.
All right, now can everyone see the PowerPoint? Yes. Okay. Perfect.
So let me go ahead and even sign off my computer. Okay, so actually, can we go back to the first slide? Is there any way I can control the slides, or you control it?
It looks like I'm controlling it.
Okay, no problem. I'll just say next slide.
Okay, that'll work.
Okay, so my name is Kayla Rose Allen. A lot of you know I'm a founder, educator, program architect, and I sent you my personal email on there so everyone can write it down and make sure that you have my contact information. I also have my business number on my website too, so you can always call that. It's attached to my phone, and it's attached to my assistant's number too. Okay, next slide. So what I do in my professions, I'm a business owner of Gentle Geniuses. I'm a philanthropist, from Shades of Queens. Basically, I was vice president of Shades of Queens at Cal Poly Pomona. It was a nonprofit organization within Cal Poly. So my goal is to make sure that we're actually receiving more funds. And I want a lot of people to get their student loans forgiven and help Shades of Queens out if they would like to. I'm also a designer and creative director. I was a designer at NYDJ. I was assistant designer, and I was really a temp, and I did the whole catalogs and everything, and unfortunately, they didn't want to hire me. It was, a lot of diversity and inclusion issues within that company. And we're going to definitely address that. I was also working under Bon Wardrobe Styling. She was basically a freelance stylist that I worked for. And I worked under her also. I assistant styled Miguel. I did Darlene magazine shoot basically on my own. That's a women's shoot. I assisted Mahershala Ali. He was just so generous and so welcoming also Miguel was too. I did Roundtable talks with Zoe Saldana. She literally treated everyone the same. She was just literally an angel. And she also discussed about, diversity issues and stuff like that. We talked about that. I was an allocation analyst at Forever 21. I actually got laid off in January. Oh, sorry, not January, April. Let me mute this computer. I got laid off in April, went through a really bad depression. So I was like, no one wants to hire me. You know, no school wants to hire me. So I'm going to start my own business. So that's what I did with Gentle Geniuses. It's literally my baby. I'll tell you a little bit more about how I founded it. I was tutoring my niece and nephew, and I saw a problem, and I was like, I want to fix it. I also have a possible management company called High Caliber Management. Cheyenne Kayla Caldwell is my assistant. She is Jamie Foxx's niece. I don't like telling people that because she literally been working since she was 15. Everything she has is on her own. And she's actually just got accepted to her Master's in Science program. She has a bachelor's in science and political science. So I'm really happy for her. And we're going to support her regardless and make sure we put education first. And also, I want to be a PhD candidate. There's a program that I'm really interested in. What is it called? Organizational global. What is it called, Dr. Mayaki?
Right. You're talking about for Pepperdine's global
for Pepperdine.
Mhm.
Global Leadership and Change Program, PhD. Yes.
Global Leadership and Change. I actually had it on my vision board, and I was like, you know, mentally I'm not ready for it, and I feel like there's, you know, a lot of development that you guys are doing, and I just want to make sure when I start the program that, you know, it will be completely supportive of, you know, everything that I've gone through in terms of my mental health and not my regular health. So I'm super excited to start that, possibly next year, possibly this year. You know, it's really up to God. So yeah. So tips on how I got through my classes. So I had a therapist, and she was amazing. Her name is Robin, and I can also connect you to her. She is African American. She is Christian, and she basically helped me accountable. I'm not going to lie. There was a time where she basically is the reason why I graduated, because she helped me make sure that I was self-caring, because I'm very selfless, and I'm not trying to say that in like a arrogant type of way, but I try to take care of everyone but myself. And it was making me really have panic attacks and have mental breakdowns. So, you know, I took a break from work for a little bit at Forever 21 because I was doing this master's program along with full-time work at Forever 21. And I didn't really have the support other than my dad. And if it wasn't for my dad, my therapist, the professors understanding, I wouldn't have graduated on time. So I also have a notebook, and I journal, and I have literally a journal. Tuesday, 11/27/19. I'm really happy that I talked to my professor and able to make realistic goals towards finishing my work. I really planned out, considering the length of time which assignment I can finish on time. I think I'm going to start doing that next year, in distributing time throughout the week so that I can relax on the weekend. I'm still on track to graduate. I didn't sabotage my grades. I thank the Lord for giving me strength to focus. So I really, you know, urge people to journal, because we want to go on Twitter and just tell everybody our business, but that's not healthy, you know, because I've done that before. So, and just self-care, having your self-care days is everything. You know, I really didn't have self-care days throughout this program. You know, the program said like, okay, it's really flexible with your job and stuff like that. But honestly, I was working full-time, coming home, I would literally cry. I would come home and was on the computer for 8 hours. I would come home and then be on the computer for another 4 hours. Then on the weekends, I couldn't hang out with my friends. I needed my friends and family. And so support is really important. Excuse my emotional self.
Yes. No, you know what? Before you keep going, I want to stop right here and ask
Yeah.
other alums. I want to ask all the other alums, what were your support systems? So what support did you have as you were going through the programs?
I can start.
Yeah, concept. Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, my husband was the biggest one. His name is Atif. It feels very formal calling him my husband constantly, so I'm just gonna say Atif. He's the one who actually pushed me to apply. I remember there was like only few days left in the deadline, and of course I kept making excuses like, oh, I won't have time, I have too much work, I can't do this, I can't do that, stuff we usually say to kind of go into that challenge zone. And his thing was like, no, apply. The worst thing is going to happen is you're going to get rejected, and you're just going to be where you are right now, just go for it. So definitely ended up applying, and here we are. So he was the biggest thing. And that's the thing, like, find yourself a support system, whether it's faculty, whether it's us, whether it's family member, friends, whatever. Definitely have like your own cheerleader who's gonna keep pushing you on, and if you ever get down, they can pick you back up and give you whatever push you need to get the work done.
That's good to know. That's good to know, because going through these programs can be sort of tough doing it alone. Yeah, absolutely. Alma, you had.
So one of the things that they did advise us in the beginning is to have a open communication with the people you work with, especially people that you report to, because in all honesty, they will be more likely to be supportive of your leadership development. So having said that, just take the initiative to try to create a space where you have emotional safety or psychological safety in your workplace and with your friends, being vulnerable, being upfront about them, saying, I'm going through this program. Family, I love you, but just like Kobe Bryant, I'm not gonna have time, as much time with you. But at the end of this, I will make it up to you, And then like with your work, just that community that supports you. Like at work, I have one person, and I share with her my struggles with my scheduling and all of that. And then just having that feedback and that input. Always ask if you're working, how am I doing at work? Because you don't want to compromise the quality of your work or get everything behind.
Yeah.
So have that constant conversation, get feedback, and grow from it. If you get something negative, like, oh, this report didn't look as sharp as the other ones, I take that into consideration. And then like what Josh was saying, in your self-leadership, in your development of self-leadership, just be mindful, use that journaling if you want to, and just keep track of your progress. And then always, reach out to your community, be very gracious, be very thankful, and affirm them constantly of the value that they are providing you through this journey.
Okay, that's good to know too. Joshua, what about you and your support system that you had?
Right. So I was grateful for having a family who was supportive. I live with my parents and my sister, which is somewhat abnormal at our age, but it really works. I think God really blessed us with a dynamic that really allows us to succeed and thrive and really push towards our goals, no matter what it is. So I'm an entrepreneur by trade in terms of creative consulting and graphic design. So I'm pretty much a self-starter. So I can pretty much drive myself in the direction that I would like to go. But in that driving, I definitely need a passenger. So in doing that, I had my best friend. She was also in a master's program. So she kind of understood the demands that were on us as master students. And we were able to converse about our struggles, converse about our frustrations, converse about like, I need some time off. I need to like chill. I need to do this. I need to do that. We end up going on like a cruise in the middle of a semester
Oh, wow.
because we just needed that time. to kind of just like let go. Although we planned it far in advance, we just knew that we needed that time to kind of go away and decompress. But at the same time, in that decompressing, in that relieving of our stress and just voicing our frustrations, was really important for us to be accountable to each other, accountable to our commitments, as Kayla expressed, just finding that space, whether it's an individual, whether it's a community, whether it's a church group, just really finding that space that holds you accountable to what you committed to, who understands the emotions that you may go through,
Yeah.
and then also kind of just understands overall your end destination, when that end destination is, or when you'd like to be, and then also just there to support you all the way.
That's good. That's really, really
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
And I was being held accountable by my therapist so much to the point where I was like, I don't want to go to therapy. Like, I loved her, but I was like, okay, I need a break, because it was just like I was fighting it. I was resisting it a little bit, and then I got to the point where I took time for myself, and it helped. And I'm going to go back to her. So I can't wait to go back to her with all this progress. And I'm so excited. It's going to be a whole different level now that I took some time for myself, reflected on things, and it's going to be a whole different experience. So I'm going to book my appointment soon. So I can't wait.
That's great. That's great.
It's literally God, though. It's literally Christ. So I give
I
all
know
credit
that's
to
right.
Christ. I decrease in me and increase in him, and he brings about blessings. And you already know, before this, I was really hard at public speaking, and I just prayed, and God just literally just was like, Kayla, you got this. So I'm very confident in public speaking now. I don't have to prepare, but I do. I stay prepared, and it's like opportunity plus preparation,
Right.
get you the job.
That's
So
right. That's right.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
ready to keep going. And sorry that I got off the screen. I had to make sure that my iPad was charged.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Actually, we have another alum that has joined us. Elias, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Doran.
Hi, and let me just mention to all the students, if you have any questions, let us know in the chat so we can start answering some of your questions before time runs out. Okay? Elias, just give us a quick overview of the program you graduated from, and then some tips on how you got through it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Sorry I hopped on really late. I'll keep it nice and brief for you all. My program was MSLD, which is Masters of Science in Learning Design and Innovation. It's a mouthful, but it was a phenomenal program, and it was really an experience I wouldn't trade for anything. And I got through it because of the people you're seeing right now on the screen. That's why I was so excited and eager to jump on when Dr. Maki Trap said, all your friends, because I talk about them a lot. And even though it was online, and she's nodding because I talk about them all the time, because this was a really special group, and I wouldn't have gotten through it without them and their support. And that's why I had to jump on just to say hi to everyone. It's really a program that will go really quick. It will go really fast, and it will be a lot at times. So you need to rely on your social support, rely on your cohort mates, because no one knows what you're going through except them, because they're going through the exact same courses, the exact same faculty, more or less, with the exact same assignments. So rely on them. Make yourself open to them, engage with them, interact with them, and you will have long life friendships with all these people. And you're also very blessed to have the hybrid, maybe not right now, but you will be in person, in face to face. We were fully online at the time, and we still were able to develop these friendships through group meets. For example, we had a group me or like a WhatsApp. So that was my saving grace for getting through this program, and I can't thank them enough. So that's why I always show gratitude to them. I always try to hop in and say hi. Vanessa, Ama, Josh, Kanza, Kayla, they were all critical to getting through this program, and it's so nice to see all of you again.
Well, well, thank you so much for saying hello to everybody. And this is like a little alumni reunion right here.
It is. This is pretty awesome. A lot of love here.
Well, that's good. That's good. So that's something good for all the students to expect when they're in all of these different programs, that they should have this same type of support that you're showing that you have. So that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So there's some questions that I see in the chat, but if any of the students would like to get some other questions answered, this is the time for you to go ahead and speak up now, so you can have any kind of questions that you have answered. So if you have a question, you can unmute yourself and go ahead and ask your question.
If I may, there were some questions about whether it's applicable. I would say that it really depends the position you're in, obviously. So for me, I'm at Stanford University and I manage educational project. So everything I was learning was directly applicable to what I was doing. So if you're in that field, yes, definitely. But even if you're not, there are skills that you're still learning that you can apply at your work as well, right? Like time management, organization. And end of the day, it's a master's you definitely will be able to leverage, or when you're applying for a different position, it looks very favorable to have a master's in hand.
Okay.
There's also another question regarding if any of y'all changed programs once you started your master's degree. So alums, did any of you change programs once you started? No.
No?
I don't think any of our alums we have here changed programs once they were in, but we do have students who do it. They're just not happen to be these ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I could share a story of once before I head off, a student who did. She her name was Rebecca, and she's actually in the doctorate program now, and she started
Rebecca.
yeah, Rebecca, she started in I forgot which program it was. I think it was higher education or K through 12, but she got a different job, and she switched from being a teacher to working in prisons and helping educate inmates. And she liked that so much, and she wanted to start developing programs. So she actually switched from her higher ed degree, I believe it was, to LD. So she became a learning design and innovation. And her whole capstone was based around her working with inmates and developing a program for them. So she's one of many who made that career change mid program and switched her degree to align with her new outcome or her new objective and goal.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I would love to collaborate with her because we actually have a lot of people that I work with in my nonprofit that I'm developing that works in that area. And my mom also worked at Terminal Island Federal Prison for 20 years. So yeah, it's like God is putting everyone together. So I'm super excited.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
Now,
so go ahead.
I'm sorry. We have another question that someone was asking. Is it best to get a job in the field right now just to get your foot in the door? What would you suggest to some of the alums?
To get a job in the field just to get your foot in the door?
Right now, right.
I really have a lot of opportunities with my business. If they want to join, I have a lot of opportunities with Gentle Geniuses. We're in hopes of partnering with Pixel, by LabCorp, which basically allows you to take a coronavirus test at the comfort of your own home. So the tutors and the family members will have coronavirus testing, and then it will be free as long as you put your insurance information in. So I don't cut corners. I learned that from my dad. I don't do anything illegal. I just really want to help people, and that's really my mission.
So just to get some clarification on the question, when you say field, do you mean the academic field?
Yes, I have academic opportunities, and then I also have a management company I'm developing. Both companies are already EIN state. We have a registration tax, and my companies are also trademarked and copyrighted. My website's copyrighted, so I basically help people learn how to do that on their own. So yeah, that's why I wanted to kind of continue with the presentation so I can get into it and so you can learn a little bit more.
So that's was asking the question. They mean the academic field, correct? To get their foot into the academics. So with that, I mean, you can never go wrong with that. If that's what you're really passionate about, yes, I would highly recommend it. Find a position that interests you. I wouldn't recommend just finding anything just for the sake of it, because if you're not passionate about it, you're just gonna burn yourself out. So let's say if you're passionate about a different field, go for that position, right? Like we said, whatever you learn in this program, it is applicable in multitude of fields. It's not just academics. Like project management, I feel like a lot of the stuff we learn, it can totally be used by a project manager, and you know, those go in like in tech and in fashion industry and academics, like though that's a field that's very, very diverse. So I would say yes, it's not a bad option to get your foot in, but only if you're really passionate about that position.
I think that's
Now,
really
there's
wise
also
concept.
another, there was someone else that wanted to add on to that question. Do you recommend, and I guess this is for you, Dr. Miyake Trapp, do you recommend graduate assistant positions and experience within their desired field?
Absolutely. That's exactly what I was going to transition to. I saw that clarification. So Kanza, you're totally right. Like, don't just take jobs just because, right? Or internships or whatnot. You got to be passionate about it and have a purpose. So I think that that's super, wise advice. The thing I want to say is also, just like Dr. Dorn is creating this space right here for us, is that use your Pepperdine network. So, you have Kayla saying, come work for me. And then you have, your other folks, who are able to connect you. So we do have TA, teaching assistant, GA, graduate assistant, and RA research assistant positions throughout the entire university. So it doesn't just have to be here with me or Dr. Dorn at GSEP. You have opportunities. And of course, all of this stuff is happening remotely because we can't have folks on campus right now. So many of you are working full-time or part-time, or you're not working. And so you'll have to determine your level of, the hours that you can join into you can commit, to one of those positions. They're just super opportunities, and it doesn't have to be academics, right? If you're Dr. Dorn's GA, you're going to learn about alumni relations. If you want to learn about career services, be a GA there. If you want to learn about events, go be a GA there. If you want to learn about libraries, be a GA there. So you have all of these very different opportunities throughout different parts of the university system that may be relevant to your jobs. So Elias, for example, started out as a GA for a professor to get his foot in the door, and he was a GA for a class on technology because he was coming from teaching preschool. So that was he was passionate. He was going to commit to changing his career. He became a GA for Dr. Garcia Ramos for her tech class, and then stayed on and completed his career transition. So really look to Pepperdine for all of those different types of opportunities in different areas of university administration and university functions to facilitate. And you can look, I think Sophia's putting it in the chat right now, but you just apply on Handshake.
Yes.
So thank you. I just hired a GA myself, a couple of weeks ago, who's joining us to help with instructional design and program management. So lots of different opportunities. Use our network, and Dr. Dorn is kind of entering that space for you and bringing you in, so you see the Pepperdine family.
And we're running out of time right now, and so I wanted to ask all the alums one last question that I see in the chat. And the question is, did you have any regrets? Yes. Did you have any regrets being in the program, or once you graduated from the program and you started getting into your careers? Or was there anything that while you were in the program you wanted to change about yourself, and the program helped you to make those changes? So I'm going to start, Ama. I'll start with you, and then.
Yeah, so I would say, imagine yourself like 5 years from now and looking back, will you regret not having done this? So that's kind of like the mindset, like moving forward as you develop your leadership, your self leadership. Um, I mean, and your emergent leadership. Like, you know, how will you best serve the time that you have been given and the people that touches your lives. And one thing that's really important and this program zooms into is your mission, vision, and values. You will see it over and over and over again, right? Every time there's an orientation, what are your mission, your vision, and values? And they home that. And I think that reinforces why you're doing what you're doing. Simon Sinek says, start with your why. And so I don't regret. I do regret, and again, this is like, what I do regret is maybe not managing my time more effectively, or maybe not being more reflective. So this is a program, this is your investment in yourself. You want the most ROI. So, your professors are there. I do regret not accessing them more because they are available to you 100%. Everybody wants to give you an A, and everybody wants your success. So having that mindset, I think in the beginning is helpful, moving forward. So you don't hesitate emailing your professor, or you don't think like your question is not like worthy of their time. And then the other question is, I think, is that it, right?
Yes, only so that we can move on to the other alums to get their answers too. But thank you, Ama. Kanza, do you have an answer to that? Do you have any regrets being in the program, or were there any changes that you wanted to make within yourself, and the program helped you to do that?
I like I'm saying, zero regrets. I think my biggest regret probably would have been that I if I hadn't gone along with the program, or like gave into my fears and made excuses and not started this journey. Yeah, definitely no regrets. There's so much I've learned and grew as a person, right? I mean, the biggest thing is now that whenever there's a challenge coming my way, to motivate myself, I always think like, hey, I got through a master's program, I can take on this challenge too. Mm-hmm. So at the very least, it's gonna help you take on more in life too, and give yourself the confidence you need to be able to take other challenges that life always gonna throw at you. And this is just one of those challenges. But the easy thing about this one is that you have a support system in terms of us, in terms of faculty. So definitely no regrets. I really do miss the program. Not the assignments as much, but but I really do miss the program. I miss seeing the cohorts. I miss having our weekly. I don't think they were weekly. I can't remember how often they were, but I do miss that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Great. Joshua, what about you?
So I wouldn't say I have. The only regret that I would have is that, similar to one, that I didn't really connect with faculty as much as I would have liked, or connected. Interesting thing about me is that I went to Pepperdine for undergrad, for my master's, and now I'm back for my doctorate. So I have somewhat of a Pepperdine investment, somewhat by choice, somewhat not. But one regret I do have is that I didn't connect with faculty as much as I would have liked, and kind of fostering those connections and cultivating those connections. Something that would have been a regret, but luckily I listened to myself. I leaned into my interest early on. So just being self-aware of what your interests may be, and then moving forward with that. For instance, one of the first final assignments during the first semester, I ended up using a lot of it during my capstone project. So just being aware of your interest, and then allowing yourself to explore different things that may intrigue you, but always being aware that way you're able to do research in that particular area that may be applicable during final projects or final assignments. If I would have not done that, I would have had many regrets when it came to finishing the capstone and the time that it took to do that. So,
Okay, thank you, thank you. Before we get to our last alum, I want to just remind you that, or just to let you know that we have a survey that we want you to fill out at the end of the roundtable, just so we get an idea of what you thought of the roundtable and any changes or improvements that we would need to make for the next roundtables. So Sophia put a link in the chat so for everyone to see, and I'm copying it and putting it in again so that you can see that link in the chat, so you can click on that and fill out the survey at the end of the roundtable. All right, so this is going to be the last person because it is already 1:03 and we're going to wrap this up pretty soon. So Kayla, you're our last alum. So any regrets being in the program?
Let's see. Give me 1 second. Just make sure you guys can see me good. And the regrets that I don't have regrets. I'm so thankful because every person that I connected with is really amazing. Every professor was understanding. Everything was meant to be. Of course, the load was a lot, but it made me stronger. And I think that we can make progress and we can change it. I also sent my Google Doc public so that you guys can see my presentation and I don't take up all your time, and you can see my website and any career opportunities for people. I'm just thankful, and I just hope that we just build a stronger community, and I think we need that.
All right. Well, thank you all. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Miyake Trapp. Thank you to all the alums who joined us today, and especially thank you to all the students who joined us and had questions and participated. Please fill out the survey, everyone. And then also, when we have other student alumni roundtables, tell your cohort, tell your friends so that they can join in on the conversation and they can get some of this wonderful information that you got today. And since this is being recorded, you will get a copy of this recording so that you can have that. You can look back on it for some of the information, and then you can pass it on to your cohort members who didn't get a chance to join us. So if there is nothing else, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you at the next Student Alumni Roundtable. Thank you,
everyone.
I also have time to talk. If anyone wants to jump on a Zoom meeting, just email me, and then we can do like a little fun Zoom meeting. We can schedule it, whatever works for you, later today or right now. I would love to talk to you and catch up on everything. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you all so much. Nice to see you, alums.
Bye.
Bye,
Thanks
everyone.
for your time.
Thank you.